The Foundation believes almost everything anomalous can be studied, understood, and safely kept. This organization was built entirely around disagreeing with that idea. The Global Occult Coalition, backed by the United Nations, backed by 108 of the most powerful occult organizations on Earth. Their answer to almost any paranormal threat isn't a cell. It's a controlled demolition. This is the complete, file-accurate breakdown of who they actually are. The Global Occult Coalition, often shortened to the GOC, is an openly political organization, one that actually takes actions visible on the world stage. It presents itself formally as an operational arm of the United Nations. Unlike the Foundation, which stays entirely hidden, the GOC operates with at least some public political weight. The hub page's own description draws the comparison bluntly. If the Foundation are the jailers, the Coalition are the executioners. But even an executioner needs authority to act. Theirs comes from a secret governing body called the Council of 108. Nothing the GOC destroys gets destroyed on a single agent's judgment alone. It happens because a judge and jury, however secret, signed off on it. The GOC didn't emerge from nowhere. It was founded in the wreckage of a war most history books never recorded. The Seventh Occult War ran alongside the Second World War, largely unseen by the wider world. At its center, an attempt by the SS Ahnenerbe and the Thule Gesellschaft to exploit the destruction of a powerful entity in order to complete something called the Right of Solomon. The war that followed is the direct reason the Coalition exists at all. The Coalition's founding charter opens with a blunt admission. No single nation could be trusted to handle this threat alone. Nationalism, the charter states plainly, was itself part of the danger. Self-interest could no longer come before survival. 108 leaders, representing the most powerful paranormal organizations on the planet, signed their names to it. Every signature on the original charter remains classified to this day. Everything the Coalition does traces back to 5 stated missions, ranked in a strict order of priority. First mission, survival. The continued existence of the human race outranks every other consideration the Coalition has. Every other mission on the list is explicitly subordinate to this one. When the missions conflict, survival always wins. Second mission, concealment. Public knowledge of parathreats, the charter argues, would cause mass panic and real casualties. Third mission, protection. Individual human lives, including the Coalition's own operatives, are to be protected wherever possible. The word wherever is doing a lot of work in that sentence. The charter is explicit that individuals are expendable if the first mission requires it. Protection, in other words, is real. It's just never the top of the list. Fourth mission, destruction. The charter treats the mere existence of a parathreat as inherently dangerous to humanity's survival. No unnecessary risk, the charter states, should be taken to preserve something whose very existence works against human survival. Fifth mission, education. Even so, the Coalition commits to expanding humanity's understanding of these threats wherever it safely can. At the top of the organization sits High Command, coordinating and administrating everything beneath it. Beneath it, the Undersecretariat, the Office of the Undersecretary General, formally considered part of the United Nations itself. And the Nexus, which maintains a global network of command central hubs coordinating and supporting local operations everywhere the Coalition operates. Physics Division is the Coalition's action arm, the rough equivalent of the UN's own peacekeeping forces. Assessment teams handle the first stage. Investigate, observe, determine exactly what a threat actually is before anyone commits to a response. Strike teams handle what comes after. Capture the threat if possible, eliminate it if not. Between the two, Physics Division represents nearly everything the public would recognize as the Coalition's public face, if the public ever saw it at all. Psyche. Division exists for the conversations Physics Division was never built to have. Special observers keep watch over scientific and archaeological investigations, looking for parathreats before anyone else even realizes something's there. Ambassadors maintain the coalition's relationships with occult powers who aren't considered hostile. Ptolemy Division keeps everything else running. Quartermasters manage weapons, armor, food, and supply lines across every GOC facility. Its research and development arm coordinates new technology, funded and directed across all 108 member organizations at once. Kalatika Division handles disinformation, cover stories, managed leaks, whatever it takes to keep the occult world hidden from the mundane one. Pneuma Division handles intelligence. INSEC roots out corruption from within the coalition itself. XCT watches everyone else, rival organizations, foreign governments, cults, anyone worth keeping an eye on. Most of the coalition's divisions operate every day. One exists specifically to do nothing, most of the time. Pangaea Division only activates during genuinely apocalyptic scenarios, eschatological events in the coalition's own language. Its General Response Corps pulls together conventional special forces from across the UN's member nations built purely for raw available manpower. Its special assets are stranger still. Former parathreats, once considered enemies, who proved their loyalty to the coalition and now serve it directly. And Mobcom, a mobile shadow government made of selected council delegates, ready to take over instantly if High Command is ever compromised. Buried within Pangaea Division is something even darker. Z Division. Its soldiers aren't recruited. They're built from a program called TACNEC, resurrected corpses, strengthened using an altered gene variant connected to a form of bone cancer. A joint program between Pangaea and Physics Division, reserved strictly for the worst-case scenarios the Coalition prepares for. At the top of everything sits the Council of 108, representatives from the most powerful occult organizations on the planet. This is the closest thing the Coalition has to the Foundation's own O5 Council, except this one has 108 seats instead of 13. Every major decision, every destruction order, ultimately traces back to a vote somewhere in this room. Some names on the council are familiar to anyone who's read about real-world conspiracy theories. The Bavarian Illuminati holds an actual official seat. Goldbaker Rhines Limited is, functionally, an insurance company. It insures other occult organizations against apocalyptic risk. The ancient noble order of the Gormogons, originally founded to oppose the Freemasons, are now the Coalition's demolition specialists. The servants of the Silicon Nornir worship 3 sentient supercomputers, named after the 3 Norns of Norse mythology. They believe humanity's highest purpose is hastening a technological singularity, the birth of what they call the true Silicon Goddess. The World Parahealth Organization is exactly what it sounds like. The World Health Organization's division for vampirism and lycanthropy. Even an organization built around destruction has a judicial branch. The International Court for the Paranormal, it handles major cases under something called the International Paralaw Codex, essentially law for a world most people don't know exists. One of its most notable cases came in 1985, when the Foundation itself stood accused of destroying a fifth of a paranormal free port. The destruction happened during a pursuit of a fugitive thaumaturge. The court's judgment on that case remains one of its defining moments. In 1951, the United States government made a decision that would cost the Coalition its very first strike team. An illegal attempt to militarize recovered para-threat technology conducted without Coalition authorization. Strike Team 001, codenamed Alpha, the Coalition's very first strike team, was lost entirely in the resulting incident. Alpha had originally been formed from defecting SS and Ananurb operatives who switched sides after the Seventh Occult War. Relations between the Coalition and the U.S. government remained strained for years afterward. Starting in the 1970s, the Coalition adopted a policy that remains controversial even within its own ranks. New tracking technology let them identify a specific category of dangerous entity before its full abilities had ever manifested. Rather than wait, the Coalition began liquidating them preemptively, before the danger was ever fully proven. The policy reduced real risk to human life and to the secrecy of the occult world. It also meant destroying things that technically hadn't done anything yet. A cult built around an entity called Only the Goddess once attempted to complete an illegal magical working in Cornwall. The working succeeded well enough to restructure the timeline itself around the event. A single covert operative, codenamed Ukulele, was sent to neutralize it. The mission succeeded, but at a severe personal cost. This remains the only time in Coalition history that a protocol called Procedure Pizzicato has ever been used. Even then, it didn't fully work. The Coalition's own files describe the Foundation as one of the oldest, most dangerous organizations in the entire paranormal world. There are no official diplomatic ties between the two, only quiet, unofficial cooperation when circumstances demand it. Standing orders are explicit. Do not engage Foundation personnel without direct authorization from High Command. Foundation agents are officially classified as potential threat entities, ranked 0 to 3 depending on how hostile they appear. And field operatives are encouraged, wherever possible, to destroy a threat entity before the Foundation can capture it first. Obscura formed from the remnants of the Thule Society and the Ahnenerbe Obscure Corps after the Second World War. They claimed to hold genuine relics, a lance said to be the spear of Longinus, a hammer said to be Mjolnir itself. Scarlet Hammer emerged from the collapse of the Soviet Union's own paranormal division, now the largest black market arms dealer for parathreat weaponry on Earth. A single sale, the Coalition's own records note, can fetch several billion euros. And the Serpent's Hand, the Coalition's most consistently lethal enemy, holds the highest standing engagement order the GOC issues to anyone. GOC operatives rarely use their real names. Instead, they carry code names deliberately chosen not to sound impressive. The guidance is explicit. Pick something closer to a real fighter pilot's call sign than a video game handle. One well-known operative goes by Bullfrog, a big, squat man with an unusually broad mouth. Assessment Team 735 carries the nickname Sparkplug, not for anything heroic, but because of how poorly drawn their original unit emblem was. Strike Team 1102, call sign Broken Dagger, specializes in rapid global response by teleportation, operating out of Kilkenny, Ireland. 108 organizations agreed on one thing after a war nobody else remembers. Containment is a gamble. Destruction is a guarantee. They call themselves the world's protectors. Their own files admit that protecting individuals has never outranked protecting the species. They fought a hidden war, lost a founding strike team to their own allies' recklessness, and still rebuilt into the largest occult authority on Earth. Wherever the Foundation is still deciding whether to study something, the Coalition has usually already made its decision. A charter. 5 missions. 108 seats at one very secret table. That's the Global Occult Coalition, the Foundation's executioners. All information in this video comes directly from scp-wiki.com/goc-hub-page, created by Dr. Kalef. The SCP Foundation is a collaborative fiction project. This hub is the work of many contributing authors, shared under Creative Commons. The full hub, including every linked tale and personnel file, is free to read at scpwiki.com. Next week on Shroudex Explain, subscribe so you don't miss it.